This conference will now be recorded.
Click on preview. I think almost we are done. We have few more scenarios in the current example. Maybe this table is not looking good, right? Wherever we refer this table, maybe we also take a card, lightning card, and also just give some title. Let's say context. So that way I think it looks better. It is looking better, right? And also I think this one I want to see in the center of the page, right? Okay, for that, and also maybe let's give some little bit padding. For that, sorry. Yeah, let me open Lightning Design System website. Utilities and padding. Padding around. Let's say I'm giving little bit small padding. Keeping inside of that. Save it, and now let's see how it is looking. We have a padding around, and this should be in middle. If you go back to our component, this is the one. Here we are referring that pagination, right? This one also, let's give some padding, and also I want to display in middle. Similar to this, I'm taking. Go back. Okay, and also it should be in the center. Okay, I'm taking center. Okay, just save it and see. Just refresh. Okay, I think now everything is fine, right? And this pagination also, I think it was working fine, right? So I think it was working fine. Now let's try to. This is also working. We are able to see the record what we try to open. Now let's maybe complete working on the delete part, and after that we work on the edit. Okay, to delete, when you click on this one, all we need is to delete record ID. When you have record ID, we can delete. But I don't want to call the apex method. Without calling the apex method, by using the lightning data service. Wherever there is a requirement to perform DML operation, it's mostly better to use the lightning data services. So we have lightning data service to delete the record. Okay, so I want to make use of that, but for that, click on this icon, delete icon. Somehow we should have that record ID, right? So based on that record ID, you can do something. Okay. So here to hold that, maybe for lightning button icon, we have value one of the attribute here. I want to hold that record ID. I'm just holding that record. Even same thing for edit also. To edit or delete, we need the record ID. To hold that record ID, I'm giving that record ID in the value of the button icon. Okay. Now either we click on edit or delete. I'm going to call one function, and in that function we detect whether it is a whether we clicked on edit or delete. If it is delete, we do one of the action. If it is edit, we have to do something else. Okay. Now in the controller, I'm defining one of the function, handle action. Okay, this is the function I'm defining, handle action. Maybe directly I'm going to write the logic here, component comma event. We call this one, either we click on this edit icon or delete icon. Okay. On click, we are calling c dot that function. Same way here, on click, we are calling c dot that function, handle action. Okay, for both we are calling the same. Now how we know which icon we click? So anyone, how we can get that element information? For both icons, we are calling the same function. Now how can I get this information here?
Event dot
Based
get
on what? Event dot
get source.
get source. So we need to use that event dot get source, and that element information will be into this. But from that I want only the label. Okay, so that is that button icon, whatever we click. From that, if you want to get any attribute, v dot, which attribute value you want. Let's say I want to get this title. Okay. So now here I'll check. So maybe here constant. I'll say action type is equal to. If the action type is equal to edit, we do the behavior should be different. Action type is equal to edit. Okay. Else if the action type is equal to delete, we'll do something. Now we are dealing with the delete, right? I want to work on the delete functionality. So whenever we click on that, when this is called, here we have to write the logic, right? So here to do that, since I want to use the Lightning data service, for the Lightning data service, we have to use LDS to delete the record. We need to use sports colon data, record data, and add all the required attributes, record ID and all those things. For that, I am opening the component library. So first we need to give the record ID, and also there are some other attributes, record data. So I'm giving the record ID. Go back here. Okay. Here I'm giving record ID and also the other attributes. So no need to store this information in any record. But what are the fields we need? Only ID is required, right? So here in the fields place, just we need ID. To delete only ID is required, right? So I'm giving ID, and in case of error, to hold the error, maybe I'll say record error. We need to define one attribute for that. Okay, here LDS delete error. When it is deleted, in case if there is any error, we are storing into this attribute record error, and this should be strict. Okay, so this is what I am giving, and also to recognize this, I think we give RID to recognize this, right? Okay, this is the name I'm giving. This is how we have to give. Based on this, we decide we want to create or we want to delete or all those things. Okay, this is the template. So now, so what we want here, record ID for us in our situation, we have many records in the table. When you see here, which record ID we are storing in that? As soon as we click on this one, that point of time, we are assigning the record ID to that record ID. And also, since we are after assigning to reload that record based on that record ID, we have to reload this record. Okay. So here at this point of time, when we click on this action, here itself, maybe we also keep the logic to hold the record ID. In the same way, like this, we get event.get source constant record ID is equal to event.get source. If you see on click on this button icon, we also have the value. Whatever the value is there in that record ID is there. That record ID I'm getting. Right? So v dot value. In the value record ID is there. And after getting that, I'm setting that record ID into component.set. We have attribute record ID into that. So since at this point of time we are adding, it has to reload this Lightning Data Service template with the latest record ID. So for that, to reload the force record data with new record ID. So what I'm going to do, component.find. We have the RID, right? RID is a local ID. To identify this, component.find. Supply this. This is the ID to identify this. For this, we have reload. I think reload record one of the action. Okay, so maybe if you go here and see the available actions, there should be one thing called reload, load function, right? So I'm reload record. Okay, so that way, okay, it will be reloaded. Now ready to delete. So when exactly? It has to delete? We are going to we are going to click on delete, and that point of time all it is calling, and it is going to reload. When it is reloaded, okay, that time when somehow this source record data is reloaded, that time to call, we have a function here. We have some of the attributes. Just I'm trying to see that attribute. Layout and the target record. Change fields loaded. Somehow there will be one of the attribute. Just I'm looking for that attribute. Record updated. So record updated. I think this is one of the event. When the record is reloaded, updated, that time I want to call the delete. Okay, so maybe let's see the one of the example. So I want to use this attribute when the record updated. Okay, at this point of time. Okay, so here go back. When it is reloaded with that new record ID, that point of time, I'm going to call function to delete. Right? So let's say I'll say c dot delete contact. That is a function we are going to call. Okay. Now this we have to keep the logic here, comma, delete contact and function, component, comma, event. When this is called to delete, okay, basically go back. If you see for delete, we have one of the example, one of the function. Then so delete record. We are going to use this one. Okay. So already I think manually we typed it previously. So quickly this time already we know. So this is the example to delete. Okay, I'm making use of that. So here in our case, this is component, and here our ID is record handler, finding based on that. And once it is deleted, if the delete is succeeded, record is deleted. So what we need to do? So maybe on click on this, it will be deleted, but we need to reload to see latest data. If you don't reload, what will happen? Even though it is deleted, still we see here. Since I want to re-trigger that the init thing, this one I'm reloading to have latest data after deleting. Okay, so here to reload the table to see latest data after delete. Okay, I'm just calling it. So that's it. This will deal with the delete functionality. So let's see. Right click and the deploy. In LWC also more or less same thing, but the syntax wise there is a difference. Yeah, so on click was already specified. In somewhere I use this multiple times. Where it is on click, why you use handle click? Okay, already there is something we did not remove. We don't want this, right? Handle click, don't want, because I think we did not define that handle click function. So that's the error. Now let's again deploy. Okay, so it is deployed. Now just refresh. Now, right, I am deleting this contact, right? Gauri Chaudhary. I'm deleting. Okay. After deleting, it will reload and show the information. So let's say maybe so far we are not showing any spinner, right? If you want to show the spinner also, so quickly, I mean, this that is not a big deal. Um, so we have in the component library, if you go to, is it already open? No. Go to component library. Anyway, we are discussing all the things. Let's add that also. Most of the times, whenever apex method is called, every time mostly we show that spinner. Okay. So click on spinner. There are many spinners. That spinner. So how exactly you want to block entire thing to do, or how exactly you want to show. Okay. So let's say I'm going with this spinner. I think that this medium one is okay for us. Copy, go to this table, maybe on top of the table, try to keep that. Spinner, deploy, go back, and let's see, by default it will show the spinner. We'll see how we control. I think it is looking okay, fine, right? Whenever we click on next, or sorry, whenever we click on delete, or maybe next also we can call, okay, until the execution completes, it is going to show. Once it is done, it should be hidden. So maybe to control the visibility, I'm keeping a Boolean value here to hide or show the spinner. It should be Boolean. Show spinner. By default, we will say no, right? False. By default, false. So when we are going to maybe show this, so let's say for now, when we click on the delete action, it will call this, right? Handle action. Inside this, I'm going to show component.set v dot show spinner say true. This is to show the spinner. Okay, so when exactly I want to hide it? Once it enters here, once if it is entered here, maybe here we are going to, after deleting, I want to hide it, right? So here why it is throwing error? I think the spelling mistake here. Okay, yeah. So now, so this one to hide, I want to hide it after deleting. Here, we are going to hide the spinner. Okay, to show or hide spinner also we have the logic. Okay, now let's see. Just refresh. By default, we should not see that.
Should the spinner be false?
Sorry. Yeah, we need to use this.
Yeah, in the controller after delete, it should be false, right?
Sorry, in the controller after delete,
After delete,
uh,
yeah.
it should be false. And also, we need to add the condition here. Or if is true, v dot show spinner having this and deploy. Okay, it is deployed. Now let's see. Refresh. Okay, now let's delete, right? I'm deleting. But in general, right, whenever you try to delete, it has to show are you sure. When you say yes, then only you should delete. Let's also implement that here, right? So it's not good to delete if it is really right. So I don't want to execute this one. Only are you sure. If that is done, then only we do. So here I'm taking one if condition. Only if they say okay, so that time we are going to delete. For that, we show the confirmation box in JavaScript, confirm, right? This will return either true or false, right? Are you sure? When we say okay, then only it will become true. It enter inside and do that. Otherwise, it won't do anything. If I say cancel, it won't perform this. Yeah, so let's also see that. Now, let's try to delete. Are you sure? Cancel. It won't do anything, right? But that time we have to hide the spinner. Okay. Else, let's say here we have to hide the spinner. Okay, now cancel. Right, it is. I think it's good. Now, okay, that should be deleted. Okay, okay, there is some problem. So delete record must load record in force before delete. Okay, so that's what is happening. Okay, but here basically this delete action from where it is calling. It's calling here only, right? This entire thing will be called only when you reload. After reloading, then it is calling this. I think we're good. Must reload before delete. To fix this only, I think basically we added this one. We are reloading with the latest record ID. Somehow we can't update it. Is so we have one more thing, target record, right? Let me data service. So let me open that force. Force record data. v.id. We're using v.id. v.record id. Do we have record id attribute? Record id. Okay. Somehow we forgot to include the record id attribute. Okay. To hold the current selected record id, I think we don't have any attribute to hold the record id. So that's the problem. Okay, let's add. Maybe add this. Without defining, we are trying to use, and somehow record id. This is to hold the currently deleted or edited record id. Okay, let's see. Deploy. Then go back. Just a refresh. Okay, now let me click on this. Now, if everything is fine, helper is not defined. I think this is some other error. Somewhere without defining helper, we are calling that. I think here only. Here I did not define helper, but I'm calling the helper method. Yes, we are fixing that also. Deploy. Okay, so it is deployed. Now just refresh. Now let's. I think that is deleted. Whatever we deleted, but later part while reloading, it got error. I think. Now let's delete now this. Now without error, it should also reload, and we don't see this record now, right? So delete. Okay. Now after deleting, it is also refreshing like that. Maybe, however, we are using that loading icon. You can use for the other scenarios also. Let's say when I click on next, when the pagination is in progress, that time also, if needed, we can use the loading icon. Okay. That is the concept. Now edit. When we click on edit, right? So here, what is happening when we click on edit? Here we are showing the spinner. When this edit, whatever the logic we write, that is completed, then again it has to hide, right? So that's what should happen. Anyway, when we edit, we are not. So it's always better to show that when you are making any server call. If you are not doing any server call, no need to show the loading icon. It is very faster. We don't see any situation to see this. So let's say this for edit for now, we don't want to show, only for delete. Sure. Okay, once that is done, we'll hide it. It's like that. So that's it. And now for edit, I want to use the, if you go to the component library, we use this sports record, and also I think we took some examples to create and modify records. We have some of the standard components available based on the Lightning data service. So here, one of the famous thing, record form. Record form is very easy. It will give the flexibility to show the edit page and view page both automatically. Comparatively, if your scenario is simple and if you can use the record form, it's better to use the record form. But few things we cannot, if you have more customization. Okay, so this is less customizable. Right? To customize the form layout or some existing behavior if you want to modify. That time we go with either record view form or record edit form. Otherwise, if the requirement is straightforward, if you can achieve with the record form, it's always better to use the record form. Yeah, so here one of the example is like this. So when all we need to provide the record ID and on which object, and also the layout. Full means in general for that record, whatever the page layout is there, all those fields it will show. So that's what it will do. So layout compact means in highlights panel, when you open the record in highlights panel, whatever the fields we see, that it will show. If you don't want like that, whatever fields you want to decide to show, only those who use this. It's like that. Okay. So let's say I want to use this, right? I want to use this one. So maybe I'm creating a separate component for that. Okay. Press of fun Aura component record form. Maybe in the documentation, if you see in the document here, whatever document is there, you will see, you can maybe follow this names, whatever we are doing, so that will be with that process. Okay. So here I'm going to paste that. So which fields you want to show? Let's say from the account, I want to show account maybe whatever the fields you want to query, basically those fields we need to include. Let's say I want ID, I want first name, I want last name, I want, let's say, mobile phone, and I want email. All those things we can give. Okay. So you can give, and those things will show. Maybe I'll show this account. So basically what exactly want to show on the UI, only those. Okay, maybe previously I think I want to deal with first name, last name, mobile, email. Okay, only these are fine. Okay, and this is just to detect that form and the record ID. Based on the record ID, if you inherit has record ID, it will work. Maybe in our current situation, we are going to supply the record ID from other component. Okay, here I'm defining the record ID or attribute, name equal to record ID, type equal to string. So that whatever here in the record ID, that one, we are dealing with the contact object. All these are the fields of the contact, right? What you want to show. I want only one column. In one row, I want to see only one field. That's the purpose. Mode, it should be in the edit mode. So when you submit, what should happen? Okay. And also one of the example, so this will automatically show save and cancel buttons. Okay. As soon as you click on save, it will save. If you want to stop saving and if you want to alter some information before you save, you can also use this event.prevent default. It's like an application event. Internally, it is firing the application event. Okay. We can stop that and modify and again make that to submit if needed. But for us, our scenario is very straightforward. We don't need to do anything. It should be submitted. Maybe what I want on success, right? Maybe I want this success scenario. On success, I want to show a push message. Okay, I'm adding that additional attribute on success. And also we have one of the standard component called this notification library. Okay. So if you use this notification library, so I told that previously, if you want to show the toast message in the Lightning application, we cannot show the toast message. If you go with this notification library approach, if you see the way how we show the toast message, we are finding that library and where we can add the message like this. So let me show you. We are going to use this one for this example. So now let me open the controller. This controller, just keeping this. So I want like this. Okay. And also get param means after saving, system will automatically fire a event and to get the record whatever after saving that ID it is getting, right? So maybe same thing I'm showing, right? I say contact updated and that record ID just it will show. I'm also showing that. This is a simple thing. So we see our job is very easy, just copy paste and a little bit alter so that we are done with this requirement. Okay. Now let me deploy and see how exactly it will work. But this one, right, I want to show in a model, right, in a pop-up model. Maybe for that we have to add the model here, component blueprints, model, click on model. Okay. So now here, let's say I go with the simple one. I don't want photo. Okay, photorless. Okay, I'm taking this one. I'm copying this. Inside that, we are going to keep them. This one should be here in the content place. Here in this place, I'm keeping. Okay, and also here some buttons and all won't work. Say contact form, that is the heading. This SVG icon won't work. Here we need to show the SVG icon, right? For that, go to component library, left side, icon. Click on icon. We need inverse icons. Inverse, this one. Utility icon, the small one is sufficient, I think. Medium default is sufficient. Copy that. Should be close icon. Those are for tooltips. Okay, I think this will take care of showing in the model. Okay, now just deploy, and now here component. Here I'm keeping to show the edit form. Okay, so here I am adding C column record form. I'm going to supply record ID. Here also we have record ID in this, right? V dot record ID. On click on edit, we are setting the record ID. That ID I'm supplying here. Based on that, it will show the form. But we need to play with show or hide the form. Or if if array is true, let's say v dot show edit form. That is the attribute. Still, we need to define it. Okay. By default, that should be false. Okay. Scroll up, and in the attributes, we need to add one more attribute. One more attribute similar to that. Show form by default, I'm saying false. Already that is referred here, right? When we are going to make it true, we are going to make it true when go to this controller. Here we are going to make it true. Action type is edit. Component dot set v dot show form false. Okay, sorry, true. We need to show this on click on edit, right? So now let's see how exactly it will work. Now what will happen on click on that edit icon, it will reach here and it will make this as true and this form should be displayed. Okay, so let's see. Go here and just refresh. So click on next. So click on next. Okay, this thing. And now let's click on this edit part. Okay. Now if you see it is open, right? Mark them, right? Let's say this is the name. I'm changing. Okay. Now save. It is saved and it is showing the detail, right? Again, if you want, you can modify. You can change and save. But only the pending part, close, right? How to close? So what is the idea for you? Now this is one of the tasks, right? How do you handle? Here when I click on close, it has to close this part. Okay. What will you do? So anyone. So that close icon is here in the record form. Here. This is the button. And click on this. How can we hide this model? Anyone? Based on, I think 4 or 5 examples we discussed this, right? What is your idea? Anyone? How do you hide it? I think if you go back and check in all our examples, mostly we did this. No idea. So what is two-way data binding? Two-way data binding. Giving like this. If you give like this, what will happen? When there is a change here, this change will be supplied to the child component attribute, right? Here when you change in this current component. So maybe same thing in the child also we define. Right? This is to hide or show the model, maybe form, right? So here, just make this as true. When you change the value here, due to the two-way data binding, Since there is a change in the child, that will be propagated to parent. Right? So already I think 4 or 5 examples we did the same thing. Okay. So now all we need to do, go to this controller here, say close form, right? Function component comma event. So here component dot set. All we need to do, set that show edit form value to false to hide it. This one we need to call from this button, right? On click, see dot close form, right? So that's it. This will fix our current issue, right? Now just refresh. Okay. Now let's click on this. Click on close. Right. So I clicked on close. Let's see what is happening. On click on. Did I save this? Okay. So C dot close form. Am I setting this one to false? Yes. Setting this one to false. Is this is referred here? Okay. I think this one or that one might not be saved. Save this component also. Save this component also. And also maybe this close icon is a little bit bigger. I want to reduce the size. Size equal to giving small. Click on that edit. Okay, now I think it is looking good. When you click on this, it's closing. Right. These kind of things. It's working. And also in the same way, cancel also. Cancel means it is coming here. That is a standard action. So that's it. We are done with this edit form also. But if you see this documentation, we also have standard components, view record and edit record. Okay. When you go with that, right, how we show this message, we need to use both record view form and also record edit form. We control the visibility by checking a Boolean value. Maybe I want you to try with this approach. Okay. Maybe what you can do, you need to comment this. You have to comment this, and instead of that, create a component record view or edit form. In that, you have to use both record view form or edit form. By default, you show the edit form. After saving, show the view form. Okay, this is a markup to do that. So for your practice, I want you to try with that. Ultimately, I think once after I share the document, all this project is here. You can also see that component here. Okay, I'll be maybe sharing that project with you in the GitHub. All this project is here. Really, if you want to refer that, you can also refer. Okay, so I want you to try further. Okay, so that's it. I think with this we are done with the syllabus. So what we decided. So I think are you doing practice day to day, or I think I'm thinking that you are behind. Your practice is behind what we are discussing now. How is your practice? Anyone
My practice is lagging behind.
behind, right? Okay.
Yes.
So anyone is doing practice up to date? Okay. Yeah. So maybe, right, whatever we discussed, if you know all these things for sure, you can directly work in a project. And I believe you can also understand if you see some existing project logic, all those things you can easily identify and work. Okay. So mostly maybe whatever I know, mostly I just explained everything. There are few complex things due to the time I cannot I'm not able to explain. For example, making this table dynamic. Okay, so for that I'm going to maybe give some references. Okay, maybe for other previously when I explained about that, maybe I explained about those projects and different scenarios. Okay, few of those I think somehow this is not opening, so I need to fix this. Okay, so there are some live examples. So if you click on this icon, I have some blog posts. So maybe I think somewhere here in the post, right, you can see um, the more complex part of the. Okay, you can try to look for these examples. Suppose, for example, a data table. This is this example. It is a data table with the input. Now maybe we are showing a simple data table, right? Somehow I think due to some security, it is showing like this. Maybe I did not recently update. Okay. I think if you click on this like this, it will add. Maybe since I have some input values, I think this is marked or something like that. Don't know. So now if you see, I have this, right? I click on add and add, keep on it should add. If I click on delete, should delete. These are few kind of examples, right? When I give some information, it's when you save. This is the logic for that. Okay. So when you have that scenario in the project, so you can refer this more or less, you can achieve that easily. Okay. So like that, I have few examples here. Even the fully dynamic data table, right? Let's say here data table with export, edit, delete. Let me open this example. So this is also here, there is a search option, right? And also here from the field set, let's say the data table, we are showing 4 fields now. In future, they want to add 5 more fields. They want to change the order where how they want to see in the table. To make use of that, we have a field set concept. I think in these examples, I'm also maintaining that, and it will be even more in depth. Okay. So these are like additional references. Maybe if needed, maybe you can also look into this for those things. Okay. Somehow I did not update nowadays. Now, if you see, you have actions here. So when you open this, do you want to create a single record? Or if you want to create bulk records, it will show like a table. This is one kind of other kind of, right? How you can add, can remove. So different designs, how people, right? So maybe previously, whenever I explained about the Aura, each time when I explained, I took different examples and explained. Okay. So all these things, if you refer, I think almost all scenarios will be covered. So maybe you can look into these posts and try to maybe understand for more, right? So maybe this is one more example. So this is missing fields. Maybe I need to fix the code and again maybe make this to bring in a better way. Okay, so these are like additional references. Just I want you to look into those things and have more knowledge. Okay, so that's it. This is more than enough. Maybe when we deal with the LWC, little bit basics will be different. Maybe when we work, we take same kind of scenario and work so that we can compare and understand how exactly the framework is different in LWC. Okay, so that's it. We are done. What we can do today's date. Did you watch all the JavaScript videos, whatever I did?
Not yet.
Okay, so this time, whatever the next few days we have, until the next, let's say, how many days you want to watch those? I think there are 15, right? And each one only 30 minutes. Okay, 15 videos are there, around 8 hours. And just I'm asking, how many days you want to complete watching those?
At least a week,
Okay, so if you see each video only 30 minutes. Okay, maybe today's date is 15. Okay, let's take until 24th, and I recommend you to watch and everything. And after that, whatever remaining advanced JavaScript topics are there, I'm going to continue from there after you watch those videos. Okay, until I think I told the LWC will be next 13th, right? So the entire week and up to 2 weeks, right? Up to 2 weeks and 2 days, total 12 hours we have. In that, the remaining part of the JavaScript I'll explain. And after that, from 13th, we start with the LWs. Okay. So is that fine with everyone?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So yeah, I think I told only 6 weeks is the duration. But yeah, since we are covering more, it is taking time. Okay. Yeah, we'll maybe our next class is again from 27th. Okay, 27th of September. Okay. So meanwhile, in the JavaScript or something, if you have questions, you can ping me. Whenever we need, let's say in between, if you want one class to clarify our questions on JavaScript, just ping me. We'll maybe keep one session and discuss and continue. Okay. So okay, we'll again continue on 27.
Shrinu, I have some questions in Aura.
Yeah.
So maybe I missed this, but did you show how to code inside the renderer file and the SVG file?
SVG, yeah, SVG is just changing the icon, right? So you need to, but if you see when you discussed about the life cycle, right? In the renderer also there are some console.log statements added. Okay. So I recommend you to look into that lifecycle app, what we installed and all those things. They're already renderer and all those things are there. So SVC is like just changing the icon. Okay, when we see the component in the app builder, so when you open one of the records, let's say account, but that renderer.js, that lifecycle app, those components, if you refer, you can find some console.logs added and all those things. Okay. This one I'm opening. So the purpose of the SVG resource is when we click on this edit page, in general, all our custom components in the app builder will see with the default thunder icon. Okay. I want to change this icon style. Let's say, let's go with control P using components. Let's say this one. This is that component. This is the default SVG. I want some other SVG, right? So SVG icons. I'm searching for all. We need to have the SVG icon code. So these are some of the SVG icons. So there will be a unique code for the SVG icon. Okay. So SVG, I think it is asking to download. I don't want to sign up. So maybe let's go with this icons. So let's say I want to use this. This is icon code, SVG. I think these are, I want an SVG format. It is downloaded, maybe. I want only the code. If you want to see the code, we can open this in some text pad. So this is the entire icon code. Okay, copy and replace this SVG with that icon. Okay, now when I deploy this in the app builder, when you see the list of components, we are also seeing this one. You see the icon displaying with this. So that's the usage of that. So this is the account, just refresh. Okay, and also maybe, yeah, let's just go through that. So if you see, right, there is a change in like that. So still, if you feel some topics, just let me know. In between, we keep one session and discuss. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Srinu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Srinu,
Yeah. Yes.
can you push these documents to GitHub? I think 2-3 days or week.
Yeah. Yesterday I have pushed, I think. And do you have all these two documents? Whatever I have, whatever I'm seeing. Okay. So anyway, if you are not having access to our notes, these two links. Just if you open this link, maybe it will ask you to request access. I'll get one email and I'll approve. Okay. In
Yeah.
case if you are not able to open. These two are there in the notes. All you need to do, refer to the notes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We'll
Thank you.
continue from 27. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.